Welcome everybody to part 2 of my reaction to Bastille Day and Anthem from All the World's a Stage from Rush, and holy smokes, those songs are fantastic. Before I get into talking about the band and stuff, I have to say, Bastille Day, man, I don't know why this time around it just hit me different. And I don't know if it's just the energy of playing live and you got the crowd and everything's kind of more pumped up and so it's more exciting. Like, I know that can be the natural tendency. Like, I've been to shows and the band will play a song that I kind of, maybe overlook. But then in person, when you're there, it's just way more hyped up. I don't know if it's just that live energy or if it's how they played it or if I was just not really all there the first time I listened to it. But this time around, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was, it's awesome. And three guys, doing their thing. And I remember the first time saying there was that part of that song that had kind of a punk feel to it. And I was hearing that again and I'm like, man, it's so cool how they can incorporate so much different stuff. And it's just awesome. It's so cool that, it's like Rush is Rush and that's just who they are. How do you define them other than you just have to listen to them and speechless. I mean, they're so good. And that's a cool song. I remember saying I feel like it leaves me, I'm wanting something more. I'm wishing there was something more, like this kick or a rawness or something. I couldn't really pin it down. And then the end bit, I felt like, it kind of seemed scripted almost. Like, all right, now we have to do something that's Rush so people know it's us. Yeah, I don't know if it's just because I've listened to more stuff, but listening back, I'm like, well, that is Rush. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was just coming off of the last album and then that album, like that's the first song on the next album. And so I kind of felt like I was expecting this old stuff, but now it seems to fit right on in. I'm not sitting here saying it's my favorite Rush song ever, but maybe I was a little hard on it. It's like you guys always say, there's no such thing as a bad Rush song. Even their bad songs are still good songs in the grand context of music. There's very few bands that can write like that. It's really, really cool. Now, Anthem is just all the way around a really good song. And I can tell this is going to be fun doing these live albums and hearing this stuff again, because I haven't heard it a ton. I'm like moving through Rush, and it's not like, I've been with other bands or artists, where I'll get their album or they'll release something and I'll listen to it over and over and over again because that's what they've got right now. It's pretty rare to kind of discover an artist and just go through their entire discography and hear all their stuff this fast, unless you do it like I am and you're going back and hearing a band that's already done it. But usually with artists we like, and I know a lot of you guys have experienced this because, you guys were young and stuff. When this stuff was coming out, it was like you would wait for the next album and you would get it and you would just play that record till it wouldn't play again. I'm doing it from a totally different angle where I'm just kind of blasting through. And so to have these songs come back up and to hear them with still kind of fresh ears, it's really cool. Now, these three guys, it's such a big sound. It's such a fat sound and a full sound. And it's like, you hear the production quality and stuff is definitely dated, but it does not detract from the enjoyability of it. It doesn't take away from the listening experience. Like, I just sit here and I'm like, man, this is just seriously fun. And I actually think that there's something about the rawness and stuff that kind of adds to the experience. It's like, I don't know, it's just pure in a way. There's not all these overdubs going on. There's not a ton of production tricks. It's just the band and their instruments and their songs. And it's just man, I wish I could see these guys face to face, and just watch them play and feel it. And it's such an experience. Seeing music live is always such an experience, especially, these guys are so iconic and so, I'm going to say, in a world of their own. Now, I know there's much argument for, well, there's this band and this band and this band, but okay, there's so few bands who are as iconic and as just flawless. I'll never see them live, but to have the recordings and to be able to do this and sit there and it's awesome. It's awesome. Now, I gotta all the instruments sound so dang good. The bass is like in your face, but not overpowering. I love his tone. I mean, it's that good, man, it's that bass tone that's not overbearing and doesn't drown anything out, but it still stands out and is a little bit punchy without being like too bass heavy. And so it adds to the experience and it complements all the other instruments while not taking up like this super like big range that kind of just overshadows everything else. And that's like super important, is to find like your frequencies aren't crossing, and so everything just goes well. And the drum sound, man, Neil is just one of those guys that he plays so technical and so full, but it does not feel just like I'm being rocked. It's like it's all the right things at all the right times. And I've said it before, there's drummers who will just throw fills in and do their things, and it can just kind of sound forced and kind of like it's infringing on everything else that's happening. But I don't get that from these guys. I don't. I feel like there's a purpose for everything, and everything sits right in its space, and it just feels right. And of course, Alex, man, so good. His guitar tone, it's like, man, again, 1976, and the delay on his guitar is just incredible. It's crystal clear. It has the nice layers that you want. The feedback on those layers is so perfect. I look at guitar players now and they have like tons of rack effects and all this stuff, and some of it's analog and some of it's digital, and they're mixing stuff, and I think about like John Petrucci, right? His rig's like the size of this entire room, and he sounds insane, so good, but something about the simplicity and the pureness of just this old classic tone. And man, Alex just makes it sing so good, you guys. I had to go on and on about the band, in future videos. Of course, I'm not going to have that whole breakdown because we know how they sound, and but geez, that just stood out to me as awesome. Just the mix and the playing and the way that everything sits, and just hearing them, they're so tight. I've done some live Rush stuff, but it's from different shows, and it was before I've done all these albums. But since I've started that, this is the first live stuff I've heard, and it's really cool to kind of go back to the beginning of their live albums and hear it, because it's inspiring. It's just really good. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to continue through this whole album, and then we'll get back to the studio albums, but this is a lot of fun. I think it's really cool. It'll be a nice break, kind of a nice refresher, a nice breather to go back and hear stuff I'm familiar with before just like blazing through and having so much material that I'm just overwhelmed. Rush is awesome. You guys are awesome. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave me a like. And if you have not already, please subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to support the channel, there are 2 links down below. You can click on those. Thank you so much for supporting the channel just by watching and commenting and just kind of being here. It's a lot of fun. Like I've said, I feel like I have a lot of friends. So thank you for that. See you guys later.